Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn. We've got in studio the insane Daryl Wayne, and of course Nick Newman is our co-host, and you're going to shine in this segment. I know, Nick.
We're talking about stars. Somebody's going to shine.
Somebody. Oh, goody. We have Stephanie Marango, who's a medical doctor and also a yoga teacher, registered yoga teacher. Is that how that goes?
That's the RYT.
Yeah,
yes.
Right. And an MD, who, along with Rebecca Gordon, has written a book called Your Body and the Stars. We talked to them about 6 weeks ago, and I thought it'd be fun to bring them back because, frankly, it's my birthday this week, and 2 weeks ago or less, it was Daryl's birthday. And
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Glad to be having him.
Yeah, boy, we're vertical. We like that.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, Nick, you were saying that you've studied some of the things that Stephanie and Rebecca have put into the book. Do you find it fascinating that a medical doctor would use this as use astrology to help with diagnosis and treatment?
Well, fascinated, but Stephanie, I applaud you for this. So I'm really looking forward as I would say as a peer, but as a fan, I really want to hear what you have to say about your concepts and how you apply them.
So let's talk about this. I come into your office and I say, "Hey, Doc, I'm having trouble breathing or I'm coughing." How does this work? How do you do this?
Well, first off, I'm not a medical astrologer. I'll put that out there. And
right.
I'm really a quantum physicist at heart. So as we perceive energy, so it is how I believe it. And hence the chakra system, astrology, acupuncture meridians, all of these energy forms can be applied to the body. So for me, the Zodiac is one of them. But I meet patients where they are. That's a very important tenet to me. So it's really only if patients are open to the construct. And in your example with breath, which is brilliant, I'm not sure if you intended it, Mark, but...
Of course I did.
Okay. Like the good Cancer you are.
Yes.
So that if someone came in and we wanted to work with their breathing, what we're really talking about is not just the mechanics of a proper inhale and exhale, which quite honestly, most of us in our go society don't do so well. But we're talking about the greater aspect of what breath brings in, right? Because at the basic level, we're bringing in oxygen. But one level above the physical, at the metaphysical, we're bringing in prana, we're bringing in spirit, we're bringing in energy, and energy that's very nourishing and nurturing to us, which is important for the part of our body that's receiving the air, the rib cage with the lungs inside, which belongs to the Cancer zodiac sign.
Huh. You had a question, Nick.
Well, it's a very obvious one. Stephanie, what sign are you?
My sun sign is Sagittarius.
Okay, so do you find that you have any challenges around the knees?
Well, that would actually be the hips and thighs, and
Okay.
I don't, which
Okay.
to me says I'm fairly balanced in that area. My challenge is where both my moon and Saturn are, which is Leo, which is the upper back and heart. And quite honestly, for the folks I get into astrology with, I find it's where Saturn is, where we're holding that karma, where we're holding really, really, really deep lessons. But that's the whole thing with the book. It's not, we all have every sign of the zodiac within us, as you know very well, Nick, right? So
Right.
at any given point, we're being called to learn from and balance the energy of one of those signs to bring it from potentially its less evolved state to a more evolved state. So at any point in our life, it could be Cancer, it could be Sagittarius, it could be Leo calling to us, and one of the ways that we can get to that is then through the lens of the body.
Mm-hmm.
So if a Cancer comes in and says to you, Doc, my back hurts, can you look at her chart or have Rebecca or somebody look at her chart and then help you determine what the problem could be?
I could have, there's certainly a handful of folks Rebecca and I have worked on together, and then Rebecca looks at the chart and I look at the body and its greater connections to mind, emotions, and spirit. And then what I do is translate between the two, because ultimately everything's really saying the same thing, just through different words. So, for example, when Rebecca gives someone their blueprint, she gives the Cancer the blueprint, then what I would be looking for in terms of the lower back pain is Libra. So I'm wondering what planets might be in Libra, what life lessons Rebecca picked up. Rebecca's really brilliant at what she does. And then I just have effectively one more data point which to use to make sense of what's going on in the entire picture of the person. And it's funny you bring up lower back, because lower back, the Libra is all about bending over backwards for people. It's all about supporting others, but at the same time being called to bring your own needs into balance and harmony. And physically speaking, we really need to have a strong lower back, which is part of our core, in order to properly form a foundation for the rib cage and chest that lie upon it.
And then going back with the rib cage, going back to the breath, right? Because we do need strong breath. I know that when I took voice mechanic lessons at one point, and they want you to breathe from your core and keep your core tight. Well, it's kind of loosened up over the years, but you need that to project, to use your voice, and also even because I use it for a living, but also to communicate.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of the body being interconnected, and that's what's always fascinating to me about the core. I mean, what makes the core special isn't that you go into a gross anatomy lab and you dissect a cadaver and there's some nicely labeled region called the core in the body. Rather, it's a set of interfunctionally connected muscles that form a core set around your body, so front, back, sides, diaphragm, and the pelvic floor, that enable you to work from maximum physiologic efficiency. So basically, your core, when you engage it, lets your arms, your legs, your voice, which are the vocal cords in your neck, work how they're supposed to work and not have to expend a whole bunch of extra energy in order to function.
Do most people in our society, and you alluded to this, we don't breathe properly?
No, we tend to take very shallow breaths.
Right.
Right. That's that sympathetic nervous system, that part of us that the fight or flight that back in the day allowed us to sprint from the lion in the savannah. That we now most of us don't have lions in our lives, but nonetheless we keep this part of our nervous system up and on. So we're in this perpetual mad dash in our own lives, and we're kind of holding our breath in this mad dash so that when we breathe, we're breathing very superficially around the level of our clavicles, our collarbones, versus fully, deeply into the entire rib cage, which, the lungs work like the rest of our body and with gravity, and most of the blood is going to be at the base of the lungs, so we really want to get the air down there so we can really nourish as much blood as we can with oxygen, so we have as much oxygen and the good prana nourishing, nurturing aspect of breath to work with. Have you harnessed that, as, not only as a Cancer, but as someone who uses his voice?
I try to, whether or not I succeed. I mean, if I'm doing a narration for something, do I run out of breath occasionally? Yes. But I can gauge my breathing. And usually, sometimes, you have to go or take a breath, or you run out of air. But I don't breathe as deeply as I should, and I know that. I know that. The little ball thing in the plastic, and you go, right?
Right. Barometer, yeah.
Right. Yeah, right.
By the way, for your birthday this year, you can gift yourself some nice, deep, relaxing breaths.
Or yoga classes, or something.
Or hypnotherapy.
Or hypnotherapy,
well,
yes.
I wanted to chime in on the breathing, Stephanie, because what I've found, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, is that people breathe wrong. A lot of people, when they inhale, their stomach goes in instead of filling.
Yeah.
And when they exhale, it goes the other way. And I have to teach people how to breathe the right way with their stomach.
Yeah, well, even the rib cage, you'll notice in a lot of people probably that it goes vertically instead of expanding outward like a balloon would inflate. I think so much of that has to do not just with the rush, but also our very image-conscious society, right?
Well,
don't stick your belly out.
Right, yeah. And also when you were talking about the lion, well, the lion today is fear. And when people don't breathe right, if the breaths are too rapid, then eventually they can hyperventilate.
I have to backtrack a little bit. I have to say that Stephanie is a graduate of Stanford, okay? And that's one. And then she graduated with honors from Mount Sinai School of Medicine in New York. I don't understand moving from California to New York because of the weather, but that's another story. How do your colleagues that you went to medical school, how do they accept what you do?
I think some are confused, probably, but but I speak about it in a very approachable way, and I'm not here to proselytize anyone. I'm just here to bring back, really, another wellness modality. And so certainly, at least for the physicians who know me, they know that I'm good at what I do, and I have nothing but good intentions with what I do. And as they progress through their own experience with medicine, I think they're increasingly seeing, both for their patients and for themselves, that things like proper diet and sleep and meditation or yoga or whatever the wellness modality or modalities are that work for them or the patients, like, really make a difference. And so they just become increasingly open. And I have to say, I normally preface it with, hey, guess what? Astrology is the history of medicine.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I did not know that. Oh, wow. How is it? We only have a little bit of time. How is astrology the history of medicine? One of you.
Well, a long time ago, and she may know the dates better than I do, if you were going to be a doctor, you had to study astrology.
Yes. And that really became formalized and institutionalized in the Middle Ages. But astrology, as your health is written in the stars, really started in ancient Greece in the Hellenistic times, when there weren't separate fields. Everything is connected, and back then our ancestors lived as if everything was connected. So it was just natural that they wouldn't bloodlet you if in the arm if the moon was in Gemini at the time.
Hey, listen, Stephanie, thank you for joining us again. I appreciate it.
Of course.
We come back, and we're going to have Rebecca on next. We'll have her on in a few weeks, I promise.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Nick, to be continued.
Yes.
We'll
connect.
I'll connect you
Definitely.
guys.
Thank you.
Okay. This is Late Night Health. If you want more information on the book, you can do that. You can go to Amazon. Your Body and the Stars is the name. Go to latenighthealth.com. Stephanie's picture is up there, and you'll be able to see more information. Okay, Late Night Health continues. Don't go away. More coming up.